There's no prop wash in the corners. Like, you're going through the gates and then you pull around. There's absolutely no prop wash. They've really got a good...
G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we've got one for you serious racers out there. Recently, I did a build video. It was a 2019 race build. Very, very proud of that little card should pop up there. That's for people who want to build their own, and when this thing turned up in the mail, I had to do a double take. It was almost like they'd read my mind and they put it into a package. What we've got here, this is the Avant 5, the Kraken, and this bad boy, you've got to admit, looks incredible. Looks like an extremely sexy drone, but this one is made for you racers out there. You want something you can take out of the box, and if you've got the skills to pay the bills, this is going to put you right up there with the peak of performance. So what we're going to do in this video, this is the complete review, the flights and all that sort of stuff, fun stuff. We're going to break it down on the bench, give it a bit of an overview, talk about what's inside, the design, the quality, pros and cons, and then we're going to go out to the field. We're going to rip it around, show some DVR. I even strap a GoPro on here, even though it's not really made to carry a GoPro. See what the other boys think, and yeah, I think you're pretty much going to be excited when you see what this drone can do, also the quality that's offering, and also coming in at the price. Now I'm going to put the links down below for a bind and fly, the frame, and I'm not too sure. Check the website. There might be like a free toothpick frame or something like that as well. I'm not too sure, but when you order one of these, but anyway, I think I remember reading something like that. Check the links in the description, see if you can find that. I'll put something in there about it once I do find more info, but let's kick it off and find out what's so special about the Kraken 5. Now first, for the overview, let's stick it on the scales, tear these things off, and a little bit of trivia. About 2 years ago, I actually reviewed a frame called the Kraken, I believe, from Bolt RC, so it's funny to see another Kraken out from a different company. It's coming in at about 243 grams, and as the overview, it is just made for racing. That's it. You take this thing out of the box. It's got some premium components in here. It is built spectacularly. It's got some really clever camera mounts, and when you put all that together, it is just, if you just had a fleet of these, they are just going to work. They go exactly where you want it to. The reason mine looks so muddy is because I've put a lot of packs through it. And yeah, if you have amazing skills, well, you got to bring home the bacon, because this thing, it definitely can compete at that top tier level. It's very light, very nimble, which means it's going to go exactly where you put it. Breaking it down, let's have a look at some of the components on here. We're going to start at the outside in. You can see the frame itself, it's made up. You can get a stretched X or also a hybrid. It's got 5mm arms right here, all locking with two sort of center sandwich plates. And then the rest is pretty standard in terms of the frame. Like today's frames are very, very simple. There's some flat pack piece of carbon, 4 arms, sandwich with a top plate. Nothing too spectacular right there. So innovation on that part is not crazy, but look, it seems like very high quality carbon. Seems very rigid. There's not very much play in there. On the outside, starting with the motors, one of the stars of the show. I love how these motors look. Sorry, these ones are a little bit dirty. I'll put a picture on the screen anyway. But these are the R6s, the Returner 6s from Brother Hobby. These bad boys not only look amazing, I can tell you they absolutely fly a dream. I love these motors. That's what I put on my 2019 race build. Moving towards the middle, we have another star of the show, a big Hobby Wing 45 amp ESC, can take a 6S, so definitely you've got a lot of power right there, and therefore flight controller. On top, you'd also think they were skimping out because we have some top-notch stuff in here, like we've got a TBS Unify VTX in there. We've got a lollipop antenna on the back. And also on the front, we've got a little bit of a run cam. Now, some of the other little extras I do want to point out right here, and this is probably when it's going to talk about the design of the thing a little bit and also the quality. We have this little, I'll put a picture on the screen, one of the nicest camera prints I have ever seen. It reminds me very much of the Wind 5, which I reviewed recently. You can go see that little card that should pop up there. But there is no way you're going to be smashing this camera. So whether you hit a flag, a gate, a tree, whatever you're going to hit, you're going to have to be, and I mean like extremely unlucky, 99.99% of the time when you crash. I really believe that your camera is going to be very, very well protected in here. So I love this little camera mount, and I got to say, it's one of the nicest finished prints I've ever seen. It's also going to offer a little bit of strength, and you can see it just slots right in just here to the top of the frame and connects at the bottom as well through some of the standoffs. So your camera protection is definitely outstanding. Now moving on, some of the other little extras you can get. So I've got a little extra part here. This is like a little extra fin, so you can simply replace this top plate, put this bit on here, and the reason that's on there is for turtle mode. So if you ever get stuck, you need your props out of the grass to be able to spin around, hit that button, hit turtle mode, switch it over. That's what this little fin's for. So I'm going to put a link to that down below as well if you want to print some of those out. I think they've got their designs up on Thingiverse for free. Moving on, let's talk about the design of the thing. Now the design, it's pretty generic, I'm going to say. Yes, you can go you can go a standard stretched X or also a hybrid, but other than that, it's just 4 arms between 2 bits of carbon. Nothing too special. Besides the little design of the front part, that's where I'd have to give it some big pluses on the TPU mount that protects the camera. I think that's some of the best camera protection I've ever seen, and I'm a big sucker for camera protection because a lot of frames don't do it nearly well enough. If we talk about the quality of the thing, I'm going to say it is 10 out of 10. The quality of this one is outstanding. I mean, if you look at some of those solder joints in here, it is absolutely delicious. The carbon looks beautiful. The components they use is amazing. The R6 motors, like they're the ones I chose for my build. The Hobby Wing ESC, you know, brands like TBS Unify on the top, Runcam, and the build quality as well, the way it's all been put together is absolutely meticulous. It looks absolutely gorgeous. You know, you've got this long bits of heat shrink on the arms, keeping all your wires safe. They're not going to get chopped up by the props, all that sort of stuff. And then moving on, let's talk about the pros and the cons, and I'm going to say it's probably the price. I think for 350 bucks, there is a lot of stiff competition. I'm not saying this thing is absolutely expensive, and I'm not saying it's value. It's really kind of in the middle, especially where price meets performance with the components you're getting in here. Like I mentioned, all the stuff in here, it's not skimping out on anything. So I don't feel like it's too priced, too crazy. It seems quite reasonable, but it's also not as cheap as some other ones out on the market. Other than that, the things I don't like, it can't carry a GoPro. You can't really do freestyle with it. You know, you can. Some people might say you can. I think Cal likes to do a bit of freestyle with it. But for me, it is first and foremost just mainly made for racing. And then we've got some pros. So we've got the quality is absolutely outstanding. The components are beautiful. It's made really, really well. You can see like a master builder's put this thing together. It works deliciously. It is tuned perfectly. There is no prop wash. It just seems amazing when you're flying it around. So, and it's got bucket loads, absolutely bucket loads of performance. So that's some big pros. If you want to go out and race, this is definitely a craft to consider, especially if you don't like building. But that's it on the bench. That's the text and the specs out of the way. Let's do it now. Let's go have some fun. My favorite part. We'll fly it around, show you the DVR, see what the other boys think, and yeah, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the Kraken 5. So let's do it. Have some fun in 3, 2, 1.
Just gonna go for a beer with the boys tonight.
No worries, the cyclists. Rightio, out here in the field, let's rip it around with Avan's little racing frame, and I am pumped. I'm excited. We'll see what the other boys think, show you some DVR, maybe put a GoPro on there. We'll just have to see how it goes, but let's do it. Have some racing fun in 3, 2, 1, zoom! Rightio, here we go. Let's check out some nice, juicy HD footage flying around strapped to the top of the Avan, the Kraken 5. And first things first, I think I was starting my DVR on my goggles or something like that. I don't know about you guys, but you know when you're flying along, you kind of put it in a gentle hover while you muck around with your goggles, all that sort of stuff. But let's put it through its paces, and first things first, it has such a beautiful tune out of the box. You know, it's not perfect with the GoPro on. It's definitely designed to have the GoPro off. It's absolutely a racing rig, but it can still handle a GoPro pretty nicely when you rip it around a track. But I love it. You can take a quad out of the box nowadays, and if you don't want to do the tuning, you don't want to have to worry about PIDs and where your filters are at and all that sort of garbage, this quad, it just works. That's what I absolutely like about it. Now I will notice on the really hard sharp turns with the GoPro on there, I found it did drift out a little bit. It wasn't quite the same without the GoPro. It's definitely like a laser. You know, wherever you point it, that's exactly where it's going to be going. It's got plenty of speed, and I really like how it feels very light. Now traditionally lighter quads are not my favorite, but I feel like as my skills progress and I get better at flying, you don't need that extra, I'm going to say, I don't know, like that extra forgiveness that a heavy quad can sometimes have in the turns. I find heavier quads are a bit more forgiving. Because it's so light, it's like a laser. But you've got to make sure that you're on point. If you're not online and you push the throttle, you're going to end up miles offline and not where you're supposed to be. So you definitely need to be pushing and making sure if you've got the skills, well, definitely that's where this thing comes in handy. Of course, right there, I clip the gate, so I don't have the skills to pay the bills. I do like the props. The props are going pretty nicely. You can see this one's still banged up. I didn't want to stop flying though because I was having so much fun. So yeah, I thought even with a big bented, busted up prop, you can see we're getting a few little shakes. I was still ripping it around. But overall, it is a very nice flight experience, and ran out of battery right there, and definitely suited though to those people who like racing and they've got some, I guess they want to push it to get on the podium and they want those performance advantages. I wouldn't recommend it just for flat out beginners because it probably has too much power. Yo, long range Tony. So we've got the Avant. This is the bind and fly, but what do you think of the frame?
Oh, look, it's a great looking frame, but I suppose they're all starting to take a very common look, I think, frames these days, and this looks a lot like others. However, it's got some really good features in it. I really like this recessed camera guard, a 3D printed camera guard. I think that's going to provide a lot of protection.
I did slap this on here too. It's not meant to really, it's not designed for a GoPro.
This little 3D printed shield here for the lollipop antenna, although I've heard that can really mess around with the video quality. It changes.
Is that from Painless? Did some videos on that?
Yep. Saying that when you shroud them in TPU, it can change the frequency of the transmission, so it can degrade. But you know, we'll wait and see. Sexy motors. I like the look of those. Brother Hobby motors. They look really nice. Nice clean stack. It looks really cool. yeah.
What do you think about the build quality too? I'm going to ask you that.
Oh, build quality, it looks brilliant. The I like, is that shrink wrap on there? That's really cool. It's got some heat shrink on the
Could you do a
motor
better job
wise
than these solder? I'm specifically talking
nah.
about the internals of that stack and how it looks like it's come together.
No, it's been put together really well. They've obviously got a very good QA process to get that down so well. I like it, even the way the receiver antennas are clipped in, and it's a really tidy build. I like it. It's yeah, it looks good.
Let's do it. Let's put a pack in.
All right. Is that?
You're away. Okay.
Man, that's really smooth. So I've just been flying around in some of mine, and you know, this is so much smoother. Nice rates at the box. These are all, it's all factory, yeah?
Well, this is how they do some special stuff to theirs, so it's got like their tune and stuff on there.
Oh, this is really smooth. Yeah, very, very smooth, super locked in. It's going exactly where I put it, which makes a real change. Yeah, this is really nice, Stu. It's like super dialed in. I like the angle on the camera. It gives you that sort of impression that the two front motors are tilted inwards. So a bit of fisheye in there, but nice camera, good quality VTX. I've had no breakup whatsoever yet. I don't know who set up the OSD, but I've got the.
That's how it came straight. I didn't touch the OSD.
I've got the voltage. I would have it 1 or 2 rows lower than that because it's kind of up in the middle. But that's the only thing I can find at the moment to fault this is the position of the OSD. But other than that, this is really nice.
What about for a racing craft? What do you think?
It seems to suck a lot of volts. Look, it certainly feels like it's got a bit of punch in it, and when you drop the throttle, there's no sort of bounce back or anything like that. It's really, really tight. Yeah, I like this. This is really nice. So what's the quad again?
So this is the new one from Avant. I'll put the link down below. They do a bite and fly, which comes just like this, or also just the frame.
I'd recommend this for someone who's been flying for a little bit, who wants to go to the next level, start doing a bit of racing, and you know, maybe be a little bit competitive, because this feels like it's got enough to make you competitive. If you've got the skills and you marry it up with this feels like this can deliver the goods. I like it. I really like it.
Not beginners though?
No, I don't. I think it's probably got a bit too much power. I don't know. It's a hard call, because there's that fine line between having something that's so almost toy-like for beginners, and then just throwing them in the deep end and then getting them to learn on something with some power, and just be a bit sensible about the way they fly it. But I think a beginner could get into trouble with it if they, because it has got a fair bit of grunt to it.
Too easy.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Thanks, Tony.
You know what? I thought it was really good. There's no prop wash in the corners. Like, you're going through the gates and then you pull around. There's absolutely no prop wash. They've really got a good tune set into that.
And you didn't even have the freshest of props on there.
No, that was really good.
Alrighty, CTC, here we've got one from Avant. So you might remember them when we first did the Devil. It was for a while, it was the fastest drone we'd ever had.
Yeah. Look, these guys are one of my favourite frame builders for sure. Everything they put out is really good quality and really well thought out in terms of design. So I expect this.
I want to say too, I also stuck this on. It doesn't come. That's just because I was mucking around with a GoPro, but yeah.
It looks like something.
Hey, Peach.
Looks like something I've printed. Actually.
You did print that, actually.
Look, it's beautiful, man. The way they've taken care of your video antenna. This mongrel. It just looks like a really great design. It looks really solid, as you would expect from Avant. Yeah, let's give it a go, see what it does. She's got a bit of stick straight off the bat. Feels good. This thing feels great, I gotta say. It's very, very locked in, so I'm sure they've done a custom tune here, because it feels just very, very compliant.
Fast?
It's very fast. What I expected from Avant, really. I got to say, they really make great quality stuff. So, and look, in terms of its handling, look, the only thing left to really determine is its durability. And just by looking at it, I can tell it's pretty dang durable. The only thing I would say maybe a little bit of an issue, I'm not sure, is I'm getting a little bit of bad reception.
Yep.
As I get further out. I'm not sure what the VTX is set to in terms of power.
So mine's perfect out there. It could be just the way we're facing, flying behind us.
Well, that might be it too. But I'm sure it's multi-power VTX.
Any oscillations or anything like that?
None. It's just smooth as butter. It really is. It's just really, really beautifully tuned. It feels great. Look, if I was in the 5-inch game, I'd definitely be looking at something like this.
Would you reckon, who's this one for? Beginners, freestylers, racers? What
I
would
think
you say?
anyone that's got a spare $300 in their pocket that wants a really good performing 5-inch that can race, that can freestyle, that can do it all, and this thing can in terms of its.
But it can't carry a GoPro.
I
think it's not made for a GoPro. I don't think so.
You could put a GoPro on it, no problem. It's got high rates. Oof. So no, look. I think anyone, whether you be a racer or just a freestyle pilot, would be happy with this because it just performs great. It does exactly what you ask it to do. These frames, they use really high quality carbon, I do know that, and I wouldn't be too concerned about this frame. I think it'd be just as durable as just about anything else. And just by looking at the beefiness of the arms and the frame overall, it looks durable.
Alright, nice. So Carl's famous few words to sum up the Avant Binaf. Oh, you were so close to the fence there, man. The Avant 5-inch.
Avant have done it again, guys. Have a look at this machine. It's good. It's really good.
Alright, nice. And you got our friend Ratty Dog over here, just chilling out.
No worries.
Too easy. Thanks, Cal.
All right.
TC, how fast is the Avant 5-inch going to go? Miles per hour, one number.
Oh, it's hard to say. There's so many variables involved, from KV to the weight of the craft. Look, just off a guess, I reckon it's going to do 110.
All right, I'm going to say 105. So ready to suit up?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, guys, we're going to have a look at this new 5-inch from Avant. One thing I think is worth mentioning is that we set a speed record a couple of years ago with an Avant quad in terms of speed. I think we got 110 mile an hour. Obviously there's a lot of variables, the props, the motors, the weight, all those things. But what I can say is that Avant are very well made machines and they know how to put a good racing quad together. And that was absolutely evidenced by how well the Avant Devil went when we had it. So let's see if this is comparable in terms of high speed performance. Alrighty. 91. 96. Nothing. 90.
Avant 5-inch. What did I think it was 96 you yelled out from over there?
96, yep.
So, and you could probably get that even a little bit higher too with some, I guess, more aggressive props. No? All right, thanks, Cal.
No worries.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's my review of the Kraken 5. And, oh, the camera in the roof just turned off. But anyway, there's my review of the Kraken 5. And overall, I think if you just want something, it's definitely, yes, you're paying more money than something like the Wind 5. But it does have a place in its market because it's made so well and it performs so well. So it's a nicer flying experience than the Wind 5. But you're also paying a little bit more money. You've got some absolutely stellar, outstanding components in here. I love the camera protection. And basically, I feel like this is for people who they don't like the building process. They don't enjoy it. They just want to get something. They can scream out of the box. It's going to work beautifully. And yeah, you can really take this thing to the races and compete on the highest level. That's kind of where this frame is going, with also out breaking the bank. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Share some love. I'll put the links down below. I'm not too sure if it's like if there's free arms or free toothpick frames, or I'm not too sure, but I'll put that in the description. So definitely check that out. On that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying.